help himself to $1.776 billion of your money is building. By the hour, by the day, $1.776 billion, right? 1776, get it? It is a settlement, in scare quotes, of Trump's IRS lawsuit.
Pam Bondi is so stupid. How stupid is she? Well, Pam Bondi is so stupid that even after she was fired by Donald Trump, she is still screwing him over. And this is going to drive Donald Trump crazy. And it already has. The move that Pam Bondi made is revenge for Donald Trump's firing. Revenge for the complete humiliation that she has had to endure. And maybe revenge for the fact that Donald Trump is going to land her in prison. We are going to get into it all. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video. And if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button, because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now that's why I've got a big smile on my face in this video. Because the worst people are having the worst days of their lives. And I cannot wait to get into it all. But it all begins with Donald Trump's DOJ and the move that they're making to cut Donald Trump and his violent insurrectionists a check for almost $2 billion. Republicans are not responding well to this proposition. But what Pam Bondi did is going to make it impossible to carry out. We're going to get into that revenge. We're going to get into Bondi. But it all starts with Republicans responding, freaking out, and just hating this.
The outrage over Donald Trump's plan to just help himself to $1.776 billion of your money is building. By the hour, by the day, $1.776 billion, right? 1776, get it? It is a settlement, in scare quotes, of Trump's IRS lawsuit, although not approved by a judge, he just rescinded the lawsuit, offered to him by his own government, the one he controls, in order to dole out to his insurrectionist friends. And really, just to be clear, if you read the text of the settlement, to anyone, anywhere, as the commission sees fit. Yesterday, both Vice President J.D. Vance and Todd Blanche, former Trump criminal defense attorney, who now serves as acting attorney general, who's going to oversee this fund, worked hard to make the deal seem reasonable, and they failed abjectly. Today, you've got Republicans coming out against it on Capitol Hill.
It doesn't look right. You can't do it that way when you're negotiating with yourself and for yourself.
What do you make of this $1.7 billion fund for
Bad news. We're going to try to kill it.
You're going to try to kill it?
Yep.
Wow.
It is as if somebody sued themselves and agreed upon a settlement with themselves that's going to be funded by the rest of us. Now, if that's the case, what? Wait a second. I just came off the campaign trail. People are concerned about making their own ends meet, not about putting a slush fund together without a legal precedent.
That's a Republican calling Trump's settlement a slush fund, and another one threatening to kill it. Even the top Republican in the Senate, the one who sets the body's agenda, is sounding skeptical.
What are your thoughts about this weaponization fund from the president at this point?
Yeah, not a big fan. And I'm not sure exactly how they intend to use it, but my understanding is that was just announced. And but yeah, I don't see a purpose for that. I don't see a purpose for that.
So just, in 24 hours, you have a significant number of Republicans in key positions that are turning against this brazenly corrupt act out of a brazenly corrupt administration. And it's just one development of many today showing the very quickly building backlash to this madness. I mean, you heard it from Senator Cassidy, again, who's a bit untethered now, right? He lost his primary. He's not going to be in the Senate. In fact, 2 police officers who were assaulted on January 6th filed suit today to stop it.
So, Republicans absolutely hate this. They can't stand it. They're pushing back. We saw Brian Fitzpatrick, who has seen Donald Trump attack his soon-to-be wife, Jackie Heinrich. But Brian Fitzpatrick is a Republican who said he's absolutely not letting this happen. And there's a lot of Republicans in the Senate. A Senate that has now run away for a month, as we're about to get into later in this video, saying, no, we're not doing this. This is ridiculous. But ultimately, Donald Trump probably will be able to strong-arm some of these Senate Republicans, as he always does, into doing his bidding. Well, that's actually maybe with the exception of a Bill Cassidy and a Tom Tillis who aren't running for re-election. So maybe they'll actually start to vote their conscience, but I don't know. It is up in the air whether or not the Senate will actually do what it should and push back against Donald Trump, because they never do that. But someone who accidentally did was Pam Bondi, who screwed Donald Trump through most of her tenure as Attorney General. She was a horrible crook, both in the fact that she was a terrible person and terrible at doing corruption for Donald Trump. So bad that after being fired, she is getting her final revenge and standing in the way of Donald Trump once again. I think y'all can see the big smile on my face. This is just such a funny story, and I want to take a look. Pam Bondi may have doomed Donald Trump's slush fund, the $1.80 billion fund, ostensibly created to compensate people who claim mistreatment by the weaponized Department of Justice under President Joe Biden, may face legal obstacles, ironically created by Donald Trump's own former Attorney General, Pam Bondi. According to the New York Times, after Bondi was sworn in as Attorney General in February 2025, she immediately placed guardrails around settlements that largely prohibited payments to groups not involved in an underlying lawsuit. Now, those same restrictions are threatening to derail the Trump administration's controversial compensation scheme. On her first day as Attorney General, Bondi signed a directive titled Reinstating the Prohibitions on Improper Third-Party Settlements that revived a Justice Department policy adopted in 2017 and was later cancelled by the Biden administration. According to the Times' Devon Barrett, the memo explicitly stated that, except in limited circumstances, the department should not use settlements to require payments to non-governmental third-party organizations that were neither victims nor parties to the lawsuits. Yet, the $1.80 billion fund appears structured precisely to circumvent that restriction, designed to steer large sums to third-party claimants, most of whom have not filed suits and may never file suits now that a compensation fund exists. Former Department of Justice officials immediately expressed alarm at the apparent end run around Bondi's own ethics directive. So this was becoming a problem at the DOJ, and certainly is a sticking point for Republican senators. I have never heard of the department ever being willing to grant blanket immunity. This seems blatantly corrupt. It's a shocking gift to the president. Jennifer Ricketts, a former branch director in the department's civil division, told the Times. Ricketts added, "I've just never seen litigation risk outside the four corners of the complaint being used as justification for something in a totally unrelated lawsuit. Normally, settlement figures are calculated based on actual legal claims filed against the government and risk assessment by Justice Department lawyers regarding potential jury awards." The Times is reporting that for Trump's anti-weaponization fund, it remains unclear what set of cases or claims form the basis of the $1.776 billion figure. The paperwork establishing the fund says it can be used to pay entities language that appears to directly violate the purpose of Bondi's ethics memo, which was specifically designed to prevent the kinds of funding arrangements sometimes made during the Obama administration, which has created a cloud over the current proposal. So Pam Bondi, even from the DOJ grave, is creating problems for Donald Trump, and he is certainly dealing with issues within the Republican Senate. As I said, Donald Trump is seeing roadblocks to him achieving this slush fund for his insurrectionists from senators who are just blatantly saying, "No, I'm not going along with this. I don't want to do this," and it's why they've shut down the Senate. Now, I want to talk about that in just a minute, but I also want to talk about how ridiculous the media coverage of this all has been. Jake Sherman breaking news. The Senate will go home until June, leaving the reconciliation bill unfinished. Thune just told senators in the room. All because of the DOJ weaponization fund. The House is expected to follow suit soon. So, the House and the Senate are leaving until June because the weaponization fund is that toxic, because funding for Donald Trump's ballroom is that toxic, because Donald Trump's government right now is that toxic, and there is nothing that they can do to fix any of this. So Pam Bondi, great work screwing Donald Trump. This really is just funny that these people can't govern, and I think we should come back to that more. These people just can't govern. They don't want to do these jobs. They don't like to do these jobs. And I'd also like to say again, Pam Bondi wasn't fired because of the Epstein files. She was fired because she did a bad job hiding the Epstein files for Donald Trump. But none of these people actually care about the crimes that were committed. They are always talking about PR. If you want to spot that someone is a terrible person, just listen. If they ever say that they or an organization they work with or the political parties that they align themselves with or the politicians that they like, if they are ever experiencing a quote-unquote PR problem, nobody has a PR problem. They usually have a bad person did something wrong problem. And that is the Republican Party. That is a Republican Congress that is falling apart before our very eyes. Pam Bondi played a role in that. So you know what? Thanks Pam Bondi. Great job. Great job on the failure there. We're going to continue to cover it. We're going to continue to call it all out on the show. If you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. Leave a like on this video. If you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting, y'all. Don't let them silence you. I love you all. Until next time, I'll see you soon.